Pro Football Focus says that the Niners have the best off-ball linebackers in the NFL, meaning like the not 3-4 pass rushers. I mean, I don't know the rest of the team's trios, but seems fair. I believe him. It seems like if Dre Greenlaw is your third best linebacker, it's a good trio. And at times I felt like Azeez was better than Fred Warner last year.
Yes.
So to me, what makes this trio so unique and good is that they're all sort of like specialize in moving laterally, not moving downhill. You know what I mean? They're all about going sideways, side to side, not getting any. It didn't used to be that way 15 years ago. It was all about getting in the backfield. Now it's different.
Patrick Willis and LeVar Bowman were pretty damn good at that too. They were good. That's why once Bowman got that injury, it was like, no, he's done. Once he lost that lateral quickness, he really saw how done he was, which is
true.
Sucked to see, but that's the way it goes. You lose that just that one aspect as a linebacker, because that's why they have them do those shuffle drills, because you have to be like, you have to be quick on your feet, like almost like a grasshopper, just moving side to side and stuff like that. I think I would tend to agree with that. Just like already thinking about like 10 to 15 teams off the top of my head who I can actually recollect who their linebacker core is, because how many teams are actually even deep like that at linebacker? Usually it's just like 1, 2 tops, but you got 3.
Yeah,
you got 3. You got an all-pro caliber and Fred Warner. You got pretty much almost an all-pro caliber and Azeez Al-Shaair if he can do it again. And then Dre Greenlaw is solid, even though he kind of seems like topped out, but still he's been a consistent, just like in the solid state. That's a pretty good ass core right there, because now you don't have to be so one-minded in terms of, oh, we gotta get our nickel out there. But because now you can rock with that base because you have so much of that lateral quickness, and you have someone who can get to that sideline quickly if they throw it short to the flat, throw it in the out route. It's a lot of flexibility. And some of these guys have demonstrated to be efficient blitzers. Maybe not Dre Greenlaw, but I've seen Azeez and Fred Warner do some pretty good. I know Fred does it really well on the delay blitz. I think because when they lost K'Waun Williams last year for a good portion, that they made Fred more of that blitzer that K'Waun used to be. So I'm wondering if they still do that, try to switch it around, try to make other teams guessing. But that's a key one right there.
Well, if you think about it, like, I think it's a key. This is Robert Saleh's legacy on the team. He did this in Jacksonville. But his thought process is, first of all, pass coverage is more important than run defense. So let's think of these guys in terms of pass coverage guys. And he called a lot of zone. So in the 90s, it was a lot of Tampa 2, which is 2 deep, 5 underneath. Like, there's not a lot of space for these linebackers to cover. They don't have to be super fast because the corners are in the flat too. But now it's like cover 3 and cover 4, which means 3 deep, 4 underneath, or 4 deep, 3 underneath. That's a ton of space in coverage for the linebackers to have to be responsible for. And we saw when Saleh first got here and he was calling those coverages with old Navarro Bowman on the field, like just checkdowns to running backs would be 13-yard gains. The whole defense broke. So you really need super fast linebackers and coverage. And I think just his idea of, you got to think of these guys in terms of coverage players, not just run defenders. Coverage players first. Mm-hmm. That's the whole change in the league. And that's why now you see guys who were like DBs in college now playing linebacker in the NFL. It seems counterintuitive.
And had the Niners always ran that wide 9 front before 2019, or was that like their first year?
That was new, 2019. They brought that in.
Okay, yeah. So you see how they pretty much admitted, look, we're going to address pass first. And if you want to, and I think they gave up damn near almost 5 yards or a carry.
They did.
That didn't matter.
Yeah, didn't matter.
That didn't matter. I mean, sure, if the offense, if the 49ers offense was failing to score like more than like 14, 18 points, then it became an issue, because then teams were just like, all right, we're just going to keep milking the clock. We're going to make this the long game. So we limit the other teams, the 49ers offense possessions, because Jimmy can't throw it or the running game's not working. So yeah, that was already a great commitment right there. So you talk about a legacy that Robert Saleh started. That's another one right there.
Yeah. Remember when he was in Jacksonville, they had Miles Jack, Telvin Smith. I mean, they had really good trio of linebackers. And then he came here. He tried to create the same thing right away. Drafted Reuben Foster, signed Malcolm Smith. Didn't exactly work out, but they got there. And I'm sure D'Amico Ryans is partially responsible too, because he's been here as well. Real quick before we move on, I asked D'Amico Ryans last time he had a press conference, like, did you talk to Robert Saleh over the offseason just about scheme and stuff? And is that kind of part of do you watch his defense, that part of your homework? And he looked at me with this blank expression. He was like, no, I looked at my defense. And I thought that's so interesting. I guess I always assumed like that would have been his best friend or his mentor, but sometimes maybe you feel like you're too closely related to someone you worked with, and you're like actually trying to be, hey, I'm my own guy. You know, I do things differently. Just because we work together doesn't mean I'm like calling Robert Saleh, like, hey, what do I do? He was like, nah, man, I didn't do that at all. I was like, wow, I probably talked to Saleh more this offseason than you. That's very interesting. Anyway, I thought that was interesting. D'Amico's like, nope. Okay. Well, he knows what he's doing. He doesn't need Saleh's help.
Especially now he's not working under him like before either. So now it's like, I'm my own guy. I can't be like being the understudy anymore. Now it's, especially since he was just having head coach interviews this offseason.
That's true.
So, I mean,
and maybe he did call Saleh, because why would you not call people and just talk? But maybe he just didn't want the person, like, maybe he's thinking, well, if I say I talked to Saleh, people will perceive it as he's smarter than me. I need his help. I can't stand it on my own 2 feet. Fair enough, because I'm not trying to create that. D'Amico definitely is good on his own, doesn't need Saleh, and should be a head coach right now. And I respect that he's holding out for the job he wants.
Maybe just didn't even think of it. I mean, he did just come off that brutal loss, and you just, you take some time away from it, and then you start thinking, all right, let's review it. What do I got to do here? Circle this, circle that. Here's what we're gonna do. Like, I would put it past him, just be like, oh, Robert Saleh, when he's got other things on his mind.
I always just assume that coaches have a network of coaches that they talk to and trust just to talk ball, especially in the offseason, like the evolution of scheme. Like, hey, where's offense going? Where should defense go? I mean, those are conversations I think Kyle has with his dad. He probably has with Chris. I'm sure there's 4 or 5 people that Kyle talks to in that way. And it's probably not all of them are in the organization. Some of them might be retired. And I was just wondering, like, what do they say? Who's in your Rolodex? How do you say it? You would think Saleh would be in there, but none of my business. I think basically his answer was none of your fucking business. Fair enough.
It could have been. Maybe he's lying about it. Who knows? But I think also last year when they had the Flying Coach podcast with McVay and Schrager, Shannon hopped on there. They asked him, one of the questions was they asked them about like, hey, would you guys like, talk to each other, look at other stuff? Do you ever share plays or whatever? Another semblance is like, not really. We don't really talk to each other like that. If we just see like, oh, it's just, it could have been lying, but I got the sense like they weren't, BSing. It was just like, no, dude, I'm not gonna like.
Maybe you can't exactly talk shop with a coach on another team. Maybe it's got to be your dad.
It's almost like taboo. Not when you're going against each other. Maybe when you're done, like done working.
Yeah, maybe the people you talk to have to be retired.
Yes.
Yeah. Or on your team.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, who are your team? Yeah.